If you are an introvert, stay away from office jobs. I'm going to tell you why.
No, but for real, because bitches. Oh, almost this. Sorry about that. But people really do. People really do take you being to yourself personal. And I don't get it. I don't get it, never have. I don't want to, never will. But people in the office are weird. People in the office are weird. You can come in there and just want to be to yourself, do your job, hey, how you doing? Good morning, goodbye, type of thing. And folks will really look at you like you are the weirdest weirdo on the block. Like, how dare you come in here and do your job and leave? Like, excuse me, you don't want to talk to me? You don't want to ask about my kids? You don't want to... No. Where are the reports? What do you need? What can I, y'all...
If you are...
Well, look, I agree with you. I do think that there are times when there's a little bit too much dialogue that takes place at work. Sometimes, we sit there and we say that we work for 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, what have you. And the reality is that that's not the case. Of those 8 hours, maybe you put in 6, 5, when you start looking at all of the unnecessary dialogue that takes place. So yeah, it happens. But I'll tell you this. I don't know that people actually want to know everything about your kids, about your weekend, and all the other different shenanigans that's taking place in your life. There's these social butterflies that prefer to talk more than actually get to work, and I think that's what causes a lot of problems at work. I think that people get a little bit too close, makes it difficult when hard decisions have to be made. I think that we should go to work and just get the job done, but that's just not how corporate America, the work environment works. Part of it is about teamwork. Part of it is about you getting together and you working and producing a product as a team, providing a service as a team. Part of the interview process is not just about what you look like on paper. That's part of it. The other part of it is, do I like you? Do I think that I would enjoy being around you, being in your company, having to talk with you, having to work with you for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day? How are you going to work as a member of the team? I have to look at my organization and have a pretty good pulse of the personalities that's already on my team and figure out if you're going to mesh well. So am I looking for people that are social butterflies, that are extroverts? No, I'm not. Not necessarily looking for it. Now, sometimes I do. Sometimes I may have a situation where everyone on my teams may be overly analytical and I need someone with a little bit more personality, a little bit more of an extrovert to complement the team. But in most cases, that's not it. That's not it. But I'll tell you this. For me and for most organizations, being an extrovert, being popular at work is not the key. The key is about relationships. I would say that relationships matter more than popularity. I think relationships is what's gonna, make a person stand out in the room. Not that you are just an extrovert or that you're popular. I think having strategic relationships throughout an organization on multiple levels is what's going to make you stand out in the organization. It's what's going to help you build trust within the organization. It's what's going to help you build credibility, goodwill within an organization. So, I would concentrate on relationship building more than being an extrovert or being popular. And those relationships, again, should be built across the organizations on multiple levels. They should be built within your peers, people that work within your level. Those relationships should be built, obviously, with your managers, and even your managers, stakeholders within the organization. So I think those relationships matter. Part of it is also visibility. I think having the right visibility is extremely important. Now, you want to make sure that you are careful when you're being visible, because if you do that and you're not productive, then you get the wrong visibility. But I think that you have to be visible. You have to go out there, do an exceptional job, and then you have to get the exposure or the visibility that's necessary. And that doesn't mean that you have to be popular, that you have to be an extrovert. Again, it's about building those relationships. I would also say that being your authentic self, is essential. Because if you go out and you try to be something that you're not, if you go out and you try to, try to be something that you're not, that you try to put on a mask, when that's truly not who you are, people will see it. People will sniff that out pretty quickly. So I think authenticity is much more important than you going out trying to be an extrovert or be something that you're really not. So be your true self as much as possible. So again, I think in order to be successful in organization, relationships is what matter. Authenticity is what matters, and visibility is what matters in most organizations, big and small. I would encourage you to not worry so much about being an extrovert. I would say don't worry so much about being that social butterfly, but be yourself, be visible, and make sure that you build relationships, key relationships across organizations. Most people don't focus on those relationships. I hope this helps. I'd love to hear your comments. Thanks for listening.